So I just got back from Record Store Day 2023 for April, and of course, I bought some releases. So let's open them up, take a look at the vinyl, chat about them a little, and maybe get into my own RSD experience. Yeah, let's do all of that. Stick around. So let's talk about Record Store Day. Let's say I woke up around 4:45 a.m., same as last year and not by intention. It wasn't freezing out like it was last year, though it did start off around 47 degrees with a bit of a wind chill, so kind of chilly but not really cold. And yes, I was first in line around 5:45 a.m., though I was almost third because a teenager and his mom were in a car across the street and were basically waiting for people to show up. When they saw me, they actually came running, which was kind of funny. But it didn't really matter. The kid and I had completely different musical tastes, so he could have probably taken at least a little time getting in the line and probably would have been fine. Speaking of the line, it did grow quite a bit after 7 a.m. At one point, it went over 3 blocks out, and for where I live, that's a pretty big showing. Of course, it wasn't tough to spot the Taylor Swift fans in the crowd who were there for her release. A conspicuous number of them, actually, which might have accounted for much of the line size. Of course, comparatively speaking, our lines are pretty small up here in northern Vermont. Other places, especially bigger cities, have insane amounts of people showing up, sometimes as early as the night before. Not the case up here, so I'm grateful that I didn't have to wait too long, 4 hours basically, and I got to be first in line. That simply wouldn't happen in places like San Francisco or Denver or even New York City. So as I mentioned before, I got some records, obviously. In fact, I got everything I wanted, but just a heads up here, I'm not going to go into any real depth on these releases because I just walked through the door from the event and I haven't even opened them. In fact, that's what we're going to do here. I will, however, cover them, at least a couple of them maybe, in future videos, likely vinyl hauls, so consider this a bit of a sneak peek. And I think for the first time I actually did grab some RSD merchandise, namely this brightly colored bag, tote bags, which I usually don't collect. And for those noticing the black and yellow color scheme, you can probably guess what recent album release it's promoting. Of course, it's Metallica. 72 Seasons. It just came out in case you live under a rock and you don't know that. Also, before I start, I want to thank the people at Pure Pop Records here in Burlington, Vermont, who always put on a good event, very organized and very well prepared. I don't know if everybody got what they wanted, but I'm sure most people got at least something good. Hopefully you did as well out there. Anyways, with that, let's get to the records. First up for the US and the UK is Eric Carr with Rockology. This was an RSD exclusive release, limited to 4,000 copies. Just gonna take a look at this one. This was released before. I do have a previous version of it on vinyl, but there are more tracks on this edition, which is why I picked it up. There are some cool things in here, for sure. I do dig the poster. I kind of want to show that first. It's very emulative of the 1978 Kiss solo album posters. It's in the same art style. Kind of dig that. So we have the inner sleeve right there with the song track listing. Picture Eric along with Bruce Kulick. Looks like that might have been on the set of the God Gave Rock and Roll to You 2 video. Not really sure, but I'm going to take a wild stab in the dark and say that's it. Vinyl on this one is... This is the first record, actually. It's orange with a little bit of splatter. Very cool. This is a double record, so I do want to look at the other one. I bet you do as well. Let's actually do the inner sleeve there. Track listings, again. I picture Eric live this time. Very cool. And the second record is clear with the same orange and black splatter. There you go. We also have... Well, that's kind of it, isn't it? I do like the Japanese obi strip here, style strip rather. Very cool. The artwork, again, emulative of the 1978 Kiss solo album cover art. Really dig that a lot. And track listing again on the back. There were 2 copies at my store. I paid about $42 plus tax for this one. So yeah, Eric Carr, Rockology. Next up for the US and the UK is a compilation album from the band Death. This is Fate, The Best of Death. It was an RSD first release, limited to 2,800 copies. Basically a compilation of tracks from the band's first 4 albums. And has a nice little foil embossed logo there, which is kind of hard to make out, but there it is. The vinyl in here is royal blue vinyl with splatter. I'm going to take a quick look at that. There we go. And then the reverse. Track listing here on the back. There were 2 copies at my store. I paid about $28 plus tax for this one. I do have quite a bit of a Death collection. I think I'm missing Symbolic on vinyl, but I did want to get this best of. There's some pretty great tracks on here, so I was pretty excited to get this, even though it's a best of album. Still excited. Anyways, this is Death with Fate, The Best of Death. Next for the US is Dio with Live in Fresno 1983. This was an RSD exclusive release, limited to 8,000 copies. And the hype here says 2 LPs on red vinyl, 40th anniversary of classic live show, first time on vinyl, features Rainbow in the Dark, Heaven and Hell, and Holy Diver. I'm going to take the plastic off of this one because it is a gatefold here I want to take a look at. I definitely love early Dio. I kind of wanted something from the Holy Diver tour. So yeah, that's why we have it. Anyways, let's take a look at this gatefold. Very nice. I like the ticket, live shots. It's probably an explanation here of the time period. Looks like Mick Wall did it. I believe he is a music journalist. I could be wrong. I think he's an author as well. And there's the back for you. Track listing there. Let's take a look at the vinyl. I'm sure it is very red. And of course, there it is. So, red and red. LP2 is probably the exact same thing, but just to cover bases here. There's 3, and there is side 4. And that looks to be it. There are 3 copies at my store. I paid about $39 plus tax for this one. Very excited to hear this one. This is Dio with Live in Fresno 1983. Next up for the US and the UK is Motley Crew with the Helter Skelter picture disc. This was an RSD exclusive release. No release numbers available for this one, unfortunately. Basic backstory of this one, I had the original disc back in, I think, 1984, 1985. I don't have any more, unfortunately. The cool thing about this one, this repress of it, is that this picture is actually from the same photo session. It's just a different shot. Kind of like that they did that. Hype sticker says Helter Skelter and Red Hot on the A side and Livewire and PC Reaction on the B side. Reverse shot again. Another alternate take from that same photo shoot. Pretty cool. I do want to get a look at the disc itself outside of the plastic. Shot of the band. And much the same on the back. With a little bit of... You get to see everyone there. I think this was something similar on the original as well. I did also want to pull out the insert. If it wants to come out. There's the graphic for Helter Skelter, very similar to the original as well. Unfortunately, no poster. The original version came with a poster. Kind of sad about that, but you know, it is what it is. So there it is, Motley Crue, Helter Skelter picture disc. Oh, and I should mention, there were 3 copies at my store. Paid about $31 plus tax for this one. Next up for the US is Undeath with their live album entitled Live from the Grave. This is an RSD first release, limited to 1,050 copies. And it is red splatter on clear variant. I think that's the idea I got. They're calling it Bloodshot Red Vinyl. Let's take a look at it. Get the plastic off first and foremost. There we go. And let's take a look at this. Yeah, it looks pretty red, bloodshot, what have you. It's kind of cool. And I think there was an insert in here as well. Yes, there is. Live shots of the band, credits and lyrics as well. Funny thing about this is that according to Mikey at Pure Pop Records, I look a whole lot like the guy on the cover right here. You can kind of take a look at him. The singer guy right there. I mean, even the shop owner agreed with him. Yeah, maybe I do. Who knows? At least on this art. Anyways, one copy at my store. This is it. Paid about $33 plus tax for it. So this is Undeath with Live from the Grave. So for the first time since I started attending Record Store Day events, there wasn't a UK exclusive title that I was looking for. So everything I wanted was in the United States. I mean, usually I'm chasing down European releases in the aftermarket, but apparently I didn't need to do that this time around. So that kind of worked out for me. Of course, there were some records that were astronomically priced. I mean, Queensryche's Operation Mindcrime 2 at $73. Wow. And the Cannibal Holocaust soundtrack at a little over $60. Crazy. I definitely had to pass on a few casual buys due to the price tag, which is kind of a shame, actually. Speaking of cost, it looks like I only spent a little over $180 this time around. That's about average. I spend more and I've spent less, depending on which RSD we're talking about. Anyways, if you went to the event, let me know in the comments what you wanted to get, what you actually got. Maybe you picked up titles you didn't plan on getting, but you got them anyways. Or maybe you totally gave up on RSD or never dug the idea in the first place. Feel free to let me know that and anything else relevant in the comments as well. Of course, if you found my channel on a search for Record Store Day and you're unfamiliar with whatever it is I do here, my name is Matt. This is the Accusation Network, where each and every week I do videos on metal vinyl collecting. I also cover the subjects of classic and modern metal in general. If you like the sound of that, give this video a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so, and share my videos with a few of your friends. And of course, thank you always for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.